something people forget or just ignore. In the last 20 years, bioethics has been used to describe the findings and study in the decisions in medicine and science, has also touched upon our health and lives in society and environment. On the topic of bioethics, stem cell research ethical or unethical? But what exactly is a stem cell? A stem cell is a blank cell capable of becoming another more differentiated cell type in the body, such as a skin cell, a muscle cell, or even nerve cell, and other cells from different types of organs in the body, shown on this picture. Stem cells are big news in the medical and in the scientific community because they can be used to replace or even heal damaged tissues and cells in the body. There are two main types of stem cells, embryonic and adult cells. Embryonic stem cells come from embryos that are fertilized eggs developed in vitro. The fertilized embryos are donated for research with informed consent of the donors. Embryonic stem cells are pluripotent, meaning they are able to differentiate into many different cell types. This allows them to be super useful in research and medicine because they are able to produce limitless numbers of themselves for continued research and clinical use. Also, due to their plasticity and unlimited self-renewal, embryonic stem cell therapies have been proposed for regenerative medicine and tissue replacement after injury or disease. This picture shows the fertilized egg entering the blastocyte stage and shows that during that stage, their stem cells can be taken. Next, adult stem cells. The adult body also has stem cells, which replace non-reproducing specialized cells as needed. They are not able to give rise to all cell types in other organs, but they can generate multiple types. Adult stem cells are found in many organs and tissues, including the brain, bone numbers of stem cells, but have figured out a way to grow them in cell culture and manipulate them to generate specific cell types so they can be used to treat injuries or diseases. However, scientists find that embryonic cells hold more promise than adults because they're pluripotent and capable of differentiating into many different cell types. Stem cell research is found unethical. The use of stem cell research is great, but because many lives are being saved. However, the use of embryonic cells and stem cell research poses an ethical issue. They are essentially destroying life in order to save life. In sexual reproduction, conception occurs when an egg becomes fertilized by a sperm and it forms a zygote. This new organism begins to grow into embryo, dividing into 2 cells, then 4, 8, and so on. Its cells make up a human organism and eventually leading to the development towards the mature stage of a human being. The process of removing stem cells from the embryo kills them because stem cells are the cells from which all other cells originate. It is never ethically correct to sacrifice the life of one human to save another without their consent. This is shown in the immortal life of Henrietta Lacks when Gila did not give any consent for Dr. Guy to take her cells and send them to scientists all over the world to help with research, even though it helped in many instances. Also, this kind of way thinking is the same that occurred when researchers from Tuskegee Institute experimented syphilis on African Americans that Rebecca Skloot talked about with Robert Patillo. Scientists had recruited hundreds of African American with syphilis and watched them die painful and preventable deaths even after they knew that penicillin could cure them. The African Americans were poor and uneducated, and the researchers offered incentives and did not ask for permission. Therefore, it is unethical to destroy life in order to save life. The next bioethical question: is it ethical to patent genes even if it could inhibit from other research? A gene patent is the given rights to a gene given by a government to the person, organization, or corporation who have claimed to be the first to discover or identify the gene. The earliest genetic patents were issued in 1982, following after the U.S. Supreme Court case of Diamond v. Chakrabarty, which opened the door to the patenting of biotechnological discoveries. Since then, there have been debates over gene patents to whether or not the discovery of a gene or sequence of DNA is allowed to be patented. Gene patents have often resulted in companies having sole ownership of genetic testing for patented genes. Lastly, gene patenting should not be allowed. When patents do not allow for the basic use of genetic information, this threatens to inhibit biomedical research and research discoveries to clinical applications. Many cures and/or answers could be discovered by someone who does not have access to the gene that they need. Therefore, gene patenting should be illegal. The patents mean continued limited access, information, and/or treatment for undeserved populations. Also, I'll quote from the book, one survey found that 53% of laboratories had stopped offering or developing at least one genetic test because of patent enforcement, and 67% felt patents interfered with medical research. This shows that a great percentage of laboratories cannot offer genetic tests to the people because of genetic patenting. This also shows that many people now do not have access to important information about their genetics, in which they could be uninformed and not know which genes they could potentially pass on to the next generation. Lastly, Myra Genetics, which is a leading molecular diagnostic company that tests to assess a person's risk of developing disease, had patented BRCA1 and BRCA2, which are human genes that produce tumor suppressor proteins. Specific inherited mutations in BRCA1 and BRCA2 increase the risk of female breast and ovarian cancers, and they have been associated with increased risks of several additional types of cancer. However, other companies are unable to create a drug to make the gene or even research information to help find the cure for it because it is patented. This case is still continuing today. In conclusion, no human should be forced to be made the subject of research without their permission, especially if that research leads to their destruction. And patented of genes should not be allowed because it inhibits the potential of finding out more research in genes. The use of stem cell research is the destroying of life in order to save life, which is unethical and is dehumanizing.